Hello Exiles, Redlord here and welcome to my build update number 2. But first of all, let's actually start off with the map showcase. Let's give you a tier 16, let's say Beach. Beach is a good map to showcase it on. Any rare ones? Nope, so let's just alch one. Yep, should be fine, should be fine. Maybe influence, whatever. Alright, so we're in the map. I can already see Expedition. I'm not gonna be doing that because that takes quite a long time. And yeah, I made quite a lot of changes actually. As you can see, I switched from Earthshatter of Prominence? Yeah, Earthshatter of Prominence to actual Sunder. This is the Sunder of, I believe, Earthbreaking, I think. And yeah, the build's popping off. The build's really popping off. Currently, the investment is really not high. But yeah, the build feels really good nonetheless. I already pretty much did everything right now. Everything I really wanted to do as early as possible. My atlas is almost finished. I'm missing like 7 or 8 maps. All of them are uniques, of course. And I did my 2 void stones and yeah, pretty much all the memory bosses. So technically I think I could even kill Maven and maybe even Uber Elder right now. But yeah, before I do that, to just make it a bit more comfy, I actually want to do some upgrades like get Echoes of Creation, since no one's playing the Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. Echoes of Creation is actually quite cheap right now, like 40C or 50C or something like that. So it's quite affordable, it's fine. And yeah, before I actually do Uber Elder and all of that stuff, I want to make some upgrades, which is fine. But yeah, I'm really surprised. As I said in the last video, the build exceeded my expectations, and yeah, just it is pulling damage out of nowhere pretty much. And yeah, also did my 4th Ascendancy. For now I took the Fist of War, part of the Ascendancy of a Chieftain, and I guess in the next update you're gonna hear me do somewhat of a conclusion about the Oshabi Rage Ascendancy, because that's what I'm planning to test right now. Basically the Rage Oshabi Ascendancy, to see if it is even good, if it's not a bait. Because on this build it might really be good, since we have lots of rage generation here. Really a lot of rage generation on this build. So yeah, should be quite fine. So yeah, I'm not gonna take the shrine, just so you get the real view at the build. And yeah, as you can see, the damage on my investment, I actually didn't have my Desecrate on, so the guys were not spawning. And I think I missed, yeah, I actually missed the Beyond boss. Look at that. Yeah, the Beyond bosses are actually a bit tankier than normal bosses, but yeah, the build is somewhat balanced right now and quite good actually, quite good. For the investment, the investment, all I invested was like, I don't know, 40C, something like that. And for 40C, I like it quite a lot. Even though, for example, this boss might look a bit unimpressive, but yeah, I like the build quite a lot for the investment. Alright, so I suppose I should start off with the items. And yeah, as I said, the gear I bought, I invested into, was like 40C, something like that. If we're counting just the gear, not the flasks. The flasks were more than my gear, but more on that later. But yeah, let's start with the weapon first. This thing actually was solo self-found. I crafted it through the Genesis tree, and it's like 700-ish DPS. Yeah, it's 700 physical DPS weapon. Pretty damn nice. It's got a good attack speed, and I love it with the Sunder of Earthbreaking, because yeah, it scales attack speed quite nicely, because it's only 90% attack speed penalty. Or yeah, 90% of the base attack speed, sorry. So yeah, this is the weapon right now. And I also finally bought a 6-link body armor. Got this thing for, I think, yeah, I got this, I'm pretty sure I got this for 10C. Nothing. 6 links are everywhere this league, so you're gonna get it immediately and it costs you nothing. So I got this one for 10C. Helmet, this was solo self-found. I think it might even be the same one I was using in the previous video, so just some Chaos Res, Life and Armor. The rings, really good rings this league for Chieftain. because with these rings, that drops exclusively from the breach boss that you encounter in maps after completing breaches. Yeah, +2 fire maximum resist. So, sorry. With these two rings, with two of these rings, we're getting +4 max res, 2 fire res, and because we are Chieftain and we have this node right here, Valaco, that means the maximum fire res also apply to all Eli res. So this is +4 all maximum resistances. The trade-off is it cannot roll modifiers that are non-fire. So that means we cannot get, for example, fizz damage to attacks, but that doesn't bother us that much since we already have quite a bit of flat physical damage from going from our weapon. So yeah, I think that's a good trade-off, and I love these rings, really good for Chieftains this league. Other than that, gloves I bought just a couple hours ago, and they serve pretty much one purpose, just to fix my mana and life leech. I know it's kind of not elegant solution, you can do this in different ways, but I think the way I want to build this build, I think I want to have the leech pretty much only on gloves. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yep, belt, bought just a simple life resist and armor belt. Nothing more to it. Boots, pretty bad boots, just double res, crafted life 25 movement speed, like 1C or something. And yeah, the amulet still the same as it was in the last video. And now for the flasks, I'm currently using, this is just something that I found, but I bought all of the other flasks and I'm currently using basalt flask, and the only thing I was going for right now is the charges, 3 charges or 2 charges when you are hit by an enemy prefix, because yeah, I just want to have good uptime on these flasks. So basalt, granite with the same affix, then I'm actually using sulfur flask because yeah, I felt like I need some regen, so I'm creating conch round, and that gives me regen with movement speed and charges. And quicksilver flask, at least one of your flasks should have the increased armor during effect, and the quicksilver was the cheapest one to get it on. So yeah, that's the flask. For the hand parasites we're using, I actually upgraded both of these two myself. I didn't buy anything. They are solo self-found, and they're both revolving around impale. The first one gives us the Caesar Flesh skill that just automatically procs every 8 seconds, and it spawns these bones on the ground. They are actually an AoE, and they spawn when you Warcry. It counts even for the Warcries you have automatically from your auto exertion, for example. So they just automatically spawn, and then when you attack with an exerted attack, which is all the time pretty much, they're gonna explode, and that explosion deals massive amounts of damage and guarantees impales on the enemies, and the impales have increased effect. Not that it just hits like a truck, but it at the same time inflicts impales, and then you can reap the reward of those impales yourself. And if you have the skills used by this graft deal percent increased damage, as you can see right here, you're gonna get a lot of, and I mean a lot of damage out of this. Do not underestimate it, it kinda carries, not gonna lie. And then the other one is just another impale buffer, Violent Desire. Every 16 seconds automatically gain a buff for almost 8 seconds. That gives you a chance to impale. That does nothing for me because I'm at 100% actually. But the buff grants you increased effect of impale. And I'm not sure, but it may be that this buff actually helps the effect of impales inflicted by the Caesar Flesh. Although I'm not sure, it might not. But yeah, that's the grafts I'm using. So for the skill gem setup, what actually changed? As I said in the gameplay section, I switched to Sunder of Earthbreaking because I wanted some extra clear, and yeah, I wanted at the same time I wanted a skill that could be good with attack speed. I was trying the Sunder of Charthus, but that one doesn't really work because if you make another Sunder, the previous one gets replaced. However, with Sunder of Earthbreaking, this one has decent amount of attack damage, and it has the lowest attack speed penalty pretty much out of almost all of the SLAMS. So you get a really good attack speed scaling, and even if you have really high attack speed, you don't have to worry because Sunder of Earthbreaking actually enables you to create more Sunders. You don't replace the previous ones, and these are much faster, which kind of takes out of the snappy feeling of Sunder, but it's really fast, really good AoE, and yeah, just good damage. I'm supporting it with Overexertion now, Melee Physical, Pulverize, Impale, and Brutality. Then the General Scry setup also changed a little bit. Auto Exertion, General Scry with Earthshatter of Prominence, so I'm still keeping the Earthshatter of Prominence element in the build, and I actually ditched Lacerate because, yeah, I wanted to keep the Earthshatter of Prominence in the build, and at the same time, the Lacerate has Dexterity requirement, and I wanted to get rid of that. Then it's Pulverize and Melee Physical. Then it's Molten Shell linked with Automation and Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry doesn't have to be linked with them, it's just a standalone. Eventually, I want to automate it, but yeah, currently if I automate it, I'm at 10 mana, and that's not enough to cast my Sunder. Then the other Auto Exertion setup actually is Auto Exertion, Intimidating Cry, and Seismic Cry currently. And then lastly, it's Desecrate to manually cast it to be able to spawn the General Scry dudes. Frost Blink, Vulnerability, and Determination. These don't have to be linked. And I'm using Frost Blink instead of Leap Slam because I wanted to save the 1 point on the skill tree. The War Cries, I don't have to take the Mastery War Cries, cannot exert travel skills anymore. It's just one wasted point. I wanted to save it. Right, let's jump into the skill tree changes, and I just realized I actually lied about the investment because I bought this large cluster jewel for, I think, 40C. So yeah, or no, 50C actually, 50C to be exact. So yeah, I bought this large cluster jewel with Mastered the Fundamentals, really good damage, some resists, Battle Hardened, defense, and damage again. And if I would really want to, I can take Furious Assault for attack and cast speed and fizz damage again, but mainly I got it to just get the medium cluster jewels so I can have, yeah, basically so I can have 2 medium cluster jewels because I'm planning to do the one that gives you charges, frenzy, endurance, and power charges when you Warcry. And yeah, so this is the change. I actually dropped the points right here, and I dropped the points right here, put them in here and leveled up a bit. And yeah, the skill tree currently looks like this. As always, POB in the description, and I scaled more into. I actually even respec these Impale nodes and moved the mastery here and started using the Impale support. And currently, I'm at 111% chance to Impale. Might still do something about that if I can cut Impale chance somewhere, or maybe even cut the Impale support gem entirely. That would be perfect, but yeah, I mean, we shall see what will I figure out. I mean, I still don't even know what am I going to anoint and all of that stuff. The build kind of, yeah, as I was saying before, I'm making it pretty much as I go. Also considering dropping these points, but these are not a bad value considering they give you even strength. So yeah, this is currently the skill tree. So for the Ascendancy, nothing has changed except I did my 4th lab. My Uber lab, and I took Tukohama War Herald. That's for the level 20 Fist of War. Basically free 7th link to my body armor. As you can see, I'm not using Fist of War in my links. And thanks to that Ascendancy now, I get the Fist of War empowerment. However, I am planning to actually drop this, as I said in the gameplay section, and try the Rage Oshabi Ascendancy. And that would also mean if the Oshabi Ascendancy actually is good, and I can get the uptime of that buff all the time, that means I can drop these points, because these 4 points I'm using mainly for the 50% chance and 50% chance to ignore enemy fizz damage reduction, which means I don't have to worry about enemies being armored or have physical damage reduction. However, I would drop these 4 because that buff actually gives you 100% chance to ignore enemy physical damage reduction. So this mastery and these would be pretty much just damage increases and nothing else. So I would just drop them and put them someplace else. Alright, and I believe that's pretty much all the upgrades that I made. As I said, I finished almost all of my maps on my Atlas. I'm missing 8 maps and those are uniques right now. And yeah, I did all the memory guardians, the memory threads, and yeah, got 2 void stones right now. So in the next update, the future update, will probably be with Echoes of Creation and the Oshabi Ascendancy setup, and probably with hopefully all of my guardians even feared finished. So yeah, wish me luck. I hope you're having a blast as I am. So far, the league has been amazing. I love it. And yeah, that's it for the update. Thank you very much for watching, Exiles, and see you in the next one.